of new coronavirus cases reported in Los Angeles County over the last 24 hours is 2,457, with 26 additional deaths. Here in Torrance, 31 additional cases were reported with no new deaths. Welcome to COVID-19 Today. I'm Riannon Trutanich. It's Tuesday, February 15th. Much of California will be allowed to ditch their masks when indoors starting tomorrow, but not here in LA County. The state is ending its indoor masking requirement for vaccinated individuals as COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations go back down. Unvaccinated people will still have to keep their face coverings on in all indoor public settings, such as bars, gyms, and restaurants. Masks will become only quote, strongly recommended indoors for vaccinated Californians, but again, not required for many parts of the state. Meanwhile, masks will still be required for everyone, regardless of vaccination status, at settings such as buses, congregate living areas, hospitals, and train stations. LA County public health officials say our metrics are not quite there yet to follow the state's guidelines. They ask Angelenos to keep masking up indoors regardless of vaccination status. But starting tomorrow, Public Health Director Dr. Barbara Ferrer says LA County's outdoor mask requirement will formally be lifted at 12:01 a.m. Wednesday. Tomorrow will be the 7th consecutive day the number of COVID-19 positive patients in the county remain below 2,500, the benchmark previously announced by Dr. Ferrer. California school children will have to keep their masks on for at least another 2 weeks, despite the state relaxing its indoor mask requirements. The state plans to reassess on February 28th and make a follow-up announcement then about future protocols. California Health and Human Services Secretary Dr. Mark Ghaly says the decision will be based on several indicators such as COVID-19 cases, hospitalizations, child vaccination rates, and national and global trends. Currently, students and teachers have to mask up indoors at K-12 schools statewide. In LA County, masks are also required outdoors at schools. Meanwhile, other states, including Oregon, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Delaware, all announced plans to lift statewide mask mandate for schools. Dr. Ghaly says masking requirements were never put in place to be there forever, and says the question is not if, but when they can be removed safely in our state. Health experts will continue to monitor the state's metrics over the next couple of weeks, and Dr. Ghaly says when the move is made, it will be done so in a way that keeps communities safe. Community health workers in LA County are helping to get more people vaccinated in some of the most underserved parts of our region. Public Health deployed these individuals, who are also known as promotores, to conduct grassroots community outreach, dispelling fears and myths about the COVID-19 vaccine. So far, the Community Health Worker Outreach Initiative completed more than 450,000 outreach activities, including support for 2,500 in-person vaccination events and more than 14,000 virtual COVID-19 educational sessions. Combined, these efforts have reached more than 3 million residents to date. Public Health is also hosting more than 800 mobile vaccine clinics this week, many of which are located in under-resourced communities impacted the most by the latest surge. Through providing accurate and up-to-date information regarding COVID-19 and connecting residents with much-needed critical services, such as health insurance, testing, mental health services, and food and housing assistance, public health officials say the community health workers are making a positive difference in our local fight against the virus. People with COVID-19 may be at substantial risk of complications for at least a year following their positive test result. New research published in the journal Nature Medicine found that the heart complications can include blood clots, heart attack, heart failure, inflammation, irregular heart rhythm, and in some cases, even death. Researchers analyzed data from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs health system with results of more than 153,000 people who tested positive for COVID-19 between March 2020 and January 2021. They compared them to two control groups of people who did not have COVID-19. COVID-19 patients were found to have increases in 20 different heart health issues a year after they were first diagnosed with the virus. That included a 52% higher risk of stroke, a 63% higher risk for heart attack, a 69% higher risk for irregular heart rhythm, and a 72% higher risk of heart failure. The heart-related risks were found to be common even in people who experienced COVID-19 in a mild form, such as those who were not hospitalized or in the intensive care unit. Higher risk for heart problems were also seen in people considered to be less vulnerable to the virus, such as those under the age of 65 and not facing immunocompromising risks such as diabetes. Researchers say because of the chronic nature of these conditions, they will likely have long-lasting consequences for patients and health systems, and also have broad implications on economic productivity and life expectancy. This was the first study to analyze such a large group in relation to cardiovascular outcomes after COVID-19. More than half of all travel destinations are now in the very high-risk category for COVID-19. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention designated a half-dozen new places to the highest risk level on Monday, including South Korea and French Polynesia. That brings the total of locations in level 4 to almost 140, illustrating the rapid surge of the Omicron variant around the world. Only 80 destinations were on the list in early January. Level 4 now has more destinations than all other categories combined. The CDC advises travelers to avoid visiting these locations where more than 500 cases per 100,000 residents were registered in the past 28 days. Expect much cooler temperatures this week. We were mostly in the high 50s today with a 50% chance of light rain. Temperatures began dropping on Monday with some coastal areas 25 degrees cooler compared to the previous day. This forecast comes after a record-breaking winter heat wave. While the cooler weather will linger throughout the week, sunny and dry conditions are expected to return to LA in time for the Rams Super Bowl victory parade tomorrow. The parade is expected to begin at 11 a.m. at the Shrine Auditorium and will run about 45 minutes until it reaches the Coliseum. A rally is being scheduled to take place at the Coliseum's Olympic Plaza from about noon to 1 p.m. Torrance City Council members head back into the chambers tonight to conduct city business. A couple of agenda items involve authorizing change and purchase orders for bus parts within the Transit Department. Council will also review an agenda item regarding the processing of the city's recyclable materials, and city leaders will decide on whether to award a contract services agreement to provide artificial turf replacement at the LA Galaxy Sports Complex. While the council chambers will be closed to the public in the interest of maintaining appropriate social distancing and helping to reduce the risk of spreading COVID-19, the public can participate before the meeting tonight by emailing council meeting public comment at torranceca.gov or by calling in during the meeting. You can watch the meeting live on our website, YouTube, Facebook, and of course right here on City Cable beginning at 6:30 p.m. Tonight, the council will vote to adopt a resolution to submit for voter consideration a half-cent transaction and use sales tax to be spent exclusively for services benefiting Torrance residents. City Cable's Christine Lee spoke with City Manager Aram Shaparian a few weeks ago on the importance of this potential ballot measure.
So let's get right to it. What are some of the biggest challenges the City of Torrance is facing right now?
Thank you, Christine. The biggest challenge the city is facing is our revenues have not kept up with expenses. The challenges go back to the initial recession we experienced in 2008 as we continue to reduce city services and through reorganizations and budget efficiencies continue to provide quality services. We experienced several challenges since then, including the refinery, as well as the renovation of the mall. We experienced a shift of sales tax from brick and mortar to online. And then recently, we've had our pension challenges with CalPERS adjusting investment returns. And then recently, the pandemic completely erased our reliance on reserves since we had to utilize reserves to continue to provide essential public services.
Yeah, it was difficult to learn that this pandemic has made the financial situation a lot worse, with our emergency reserves being depleted as well. Can you shed some light on how big of an impact COVID-19 has had on our local economy?
Sure. In Torrance, we rely on sales tax as our number one source of revenue, followed by property tax, utility user tax, business license, and hotel tax. With the reliance on sales tax as a number one revenue, when the LA County, due to the health officer's order, went on complete quarantine and shutdown, we experienced a closure of Del Amo Fashion Center, being the second largest shopping center in California and a significant revenue generator, as well as reduction of car sales, both due to the health officer orders as well as a chip shortage, had a significant impact. The Torrance hotels generate significant revenue and visitors to our area, and hotels had occupancies down to less than half. And those were significant factors in city's budget, while we still, again, back to the point, we had to continue to provide services. And we experienced our own health challenges with employees being out due to COVID-19 positivity or quarantining, and taking care of their family. And obviously that was the health of our community and our employees was a paramount concern.
Yeah. And while one-time federal COVID-19 relief has helped carry us through for some time, that funding will soon expire and leave the city vulnerable to an emergency or unforeseen major expenses. What kind of events are we talking about?
Sure. In California, we are accustomed to earthquakes. Anytime there's a major natural disaster, that's an eventuality which impacts our revenue. However, we can't shut down the services of the city. We have to continue to provide. There's concerns with the fluctuation in the stock market. I know there's inflationary challenges that we're facing now, as well as the potential changes in the housing market. We've been experiencing significant price increases in housing. Those are all vulnerabilities that the city has to address, and the uncertainties are the new certainty. And I think for the city to continue to maintain its vitality as a premier full-service city, we have to be mindful, as well as we have to be mindful of potential challenges dealing with cybersecurity, as well as the litigation environment and the impacts that has on our bottom line as far as being able to meet our revenue projections to continue providing the services.
Mm-hmm. And budget cuts, unfortunately, are going to happen and impact every single department. For a Torrance resident, what does this look like and how will this affect them?
Sure. With the pandemic, as you mentioned earlier, the American Recovery Act provided Torrance with $24 million over a 2-year period in 2 trunks. So we received $12 million for this fiscal year. We'll receive $12 million next fiscal year. It's almost a lifeline to help us bridge the gap of our fiscal deficiency. We're also projecting a long-term fiscal deficit, which made the necessity for immediate cuts absolutely critical. For last year, we reduced our budget 11.5%, 5 additional % for this fiscal year. However, we did delay the public safety, police and fire cuts with the potential sales tax measure consideration by City Council next month in February. As far as immediate impacts, most Torrance residents will probably notice we continue providing services. However, with staffing shortages in public safety, especially in police, we're shifting our personnel from support services like community affairs or detectives, mental health team, homeless response, to providing essential 911 services in patrol. Now, we are with the budget cuts pending for this current fiscal year, we may have to delete up to 41 positions in the police department. Mind you, some of those are vacancies through attrition. We do have individuals on their way to retirement, but once we reduce those services, all the support functions which are critical to what makes Torrance unique will be eliminated. And that's at least in police. In the case of fire, we've had challenges because fire is an essential first responders in the COVID response. We've experienced our own firefighters, our own city family experiencing the effects of COVID-19 while maintaining paramedic response. And in Torrance, Because of the support of City Council and the mayor and the community, we're able to implement our own paramedic response transport, which helped us alleviate the strains which most communities in LA County felt with the lack of ambulances. Working with our hospitals, we continue to provide service. Should we continue to make the reductions in this upcoming budget, we will be taking out one rescue unit from service, and that will have an impact on the quality of life and safety.
Mm-hmm. So to wrap it up, why is it important for Torrance business owners and residents to join the conversation with you and other city leaders?
As Torrance residents, businesses, visitors, community members, we all have a vested interest in the success of Torrance. Through our join the conversation efforts, we've received feedback from over 3,000 residents, and we appreciate that very much.
Again, tonight's City Council meeting begins at 6:30. Here are the various ways to be a part of the virtual gathering. Congratulations are in order to all the Torrance High School students that competed in a career-focused competition over the weekend. They all qualified to compete in the next round. As part of the Career Technical Education program within the Torrance Unified School District, family and consumer sciences students plus teachers from around Los Angeles gathered at Torrance High School for the annual Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America Region 9 Spring Conference and Competition on Saturday. The conference included workshops and training on leadership skills, as well as a competition that saw 134 competitors being evaluated by industry professionals from all over the South Bay, LA, and OC. From the worlds of culinary, baking, food science, nutrition, design, fashion, child development, leadership, hospitality, and money management, students showcased their skills both live and virtually to vie for a chance to enter the state's star events to be held in Riverside in April, which, as you can see, included all of these Torrance High students. The school's 4 virtual entries will find out their results March 1st, which included entries in nutrition and wellness, focused on children, and the FCCLA chapter website.
The goal is to provide students with life skills as well as skills to help them enter the career field in various areas that benefit students as they go into the roles of caregiver, wage earner, and community leader.
I'm really excited to just practice my presenting skills and just work with the judges and just keep learning about how I can better myself and my group.
I really have developed my leadership skills and I learned how to interact with other students. I also learned how to get out of my comfort zone.
From the state level, these students can earn recognition, scholarships, and cash prizes, as well as the opportunity to advance to the national FCCLA conference in San Diego in July. Well, before we go, at the end of each program, we like to share feel-good stories from our community. Pictures, images, and videos that remind us of how resilient our community is and how Torrance truly cares. Well, we did it! The City of Torrance surpassed its goal of pledged service hours for its annual Torrance Serves campaign. The citywide celebration of service leaders took place from January 17th, which was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, through February 13th. The campaign was intended to celebrate the service leaders of the past and present and empower our community to bring volunteers together for service projects that honor the spirit of giving, public service, and volunteerism. The city's goal for this year was 175,000 pledged hours, but a total of 220,677 hours were pledged by Torrance community members. We cannot wait to see all of these hours being served throughout 2022. Now, if you have a great story, an upcoming event, a photo or video you'd like to share, email us at covid19today@torranceca.gov. We'd love to hear from you. Well, that's our update for COVID-19 today. We'll see you back here tomorrow as Christine Lee brings you the latest. Be safe, stay healthy, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.